I'm a pretty big fan of Cava, the restaurant. Not just because I eat there, even though I have been eating at their DC location since like 2012, but I'm also a huge investor in Cava. I first invested in Cava on the day they went public. I don't really do this a lot. I don't usually buy on IPO day, but for Cava, I wanted to get that ball rolling. I started, and then I've been buying almost every month since then. And you can see that it's $115 per share now. It's up 191% in the last 12 months, and it just recently hit a high of around 172 after hours a few weeks ago. But it has pulled back recently, and I've got some concerns. First of all, Cava has a lofty goal of plan to reach 1,000 locations by 2032. Now, right now, I think they have around 300 or 400 locations, so they want to add a sizable amount of locations in the next couple of years. So why am I nervous? Well, a lot of it has to do with Donald Trump and his proposed policies, like deportations and tariffs. How does this impact Cava, which is a fast casual restaurant? I want you to think about this in a couple ways, starting first with deportations. I am not a big fan of underpaying your workers, right? Even though that's kind of how we keep our food costs down. We say, oh, you're undocumented, we're going to pay you a little less. And that's how, how the food costs are so low. What happens when we deport these workers? Number one, we have potentially a shortage in labor. That could drive the prices higher. Or we hire U.S. citizens, but now we have to pay them the much higher minimum wage, where some of these farms are maybe out west in California or something like that, where the minimum wage is maybe a little bit higher, $15 or more. Either way, food costs go up, right? If you have a limited workforce and no one wants to do those jobs, suddenly food prices become more expensive. And if you are able to hire U.S.-based citizens or U.S. citizens to do these jobs and you pay them a much higher wage, food costs go up. So we're looking at that for the deportation side of things. Now let's talk about the tariffs. But remember that they want to expand. And who works in the construction field and renovations and labor jobs like that? A lot of the people who work in these jobs are also undocumented workers. So again, if you deport the people who work in construction and renovation and work for contractors, and hey, you're a restaurant and you want to open up 1,000 new locations or 500 or 600 new locations, and you need people to work these jobs. You need plumbers and electricians and contractors and painters and people to work to renovate these restaurants. Either you have a much limited supply of workers, so prices go up, or you have to pay U.S. citizens higher wages, prices go up. And now let's talk about the tariffs. Now, I don't know, but I would imagine that a lot of the stuff that Cava sells in the restaurant is maybe made here, or the ingredients are sourced locally, right? So they're not importing a lot of food. Maybe they import like their to-go containers, maybe their bags come from somewhere, their silverware, their cups, their utensils. Maybe that stuff comes from overseas, so the tariffs could impact that a little bit. But I want you to think about building new restaurants, right? When tariffs are imposed on appliances and you decide, hey, I want to renovate my kitchen, or I want to buy a new refrigerator, you're buying one refrigerator. Have you ever been in a fast casual restaurant? They don't just have one oven, one stove, one refrigerator. They have several. They have 3 or 4 ovens. They have 3 or 4 stoves. They have 2 or 3 refrigerators. Maybe they even have more refrigerators. Where do those refrigerators come from? China. Maybe the materials come from Canada. Where do the chairs come from? The chairs in the restaurant, they're made out of wood. Where does our lumber come from? It comes from Canada. So if Trump is hitting tariffs on Canada, if he's hitting tariffs on food from Mexico, like avocado, if there's a labor shortage, if there are tariffs on all of the appliances that they need to get for their line, those little aluminum containers for your chicken and the rice and all of that, that's aluminum. Maybe that comes from China. And if you want to open 500 or 600 new restaurants and you need 5 stoves, 5 refrigerators, 5 things of this, all these new chairs, all these new things that are all imported, suddenly the cost to open these 500 new locations becomes extremely expensive. So one of the worst case scenarios, I think, over the next 4 years would be companies like Cava who are getting that 1-2 punch where the food costs are going up because of the labor, either deportations or the labor costs increasing, and the expense or the cost of opening all these new restaurants. Maybe we see 2 or 3 years in, where all of a sudden a refrigerator is 40% more expensive, and they're not just buying one, they're buying 4 per location. They're buying thousands of refrigerators, and they go, our goal of 1,000 isn't going to happen anymore. Maybe we're thinking we're going to open 200 locations now, right? That's a pretty bad scenario in which the stock could get crushed. So people always ask me, hey, what about Cava? What about Cava? It's going to remain a speculative position for me just because of the sheer nature of the stock. They're new. Well, they've been around since 2011, but they're newly public. So, it's a lot of let's wait and see. How's it going to do? How's it going to grow? How are they going to expand? What are their sales going to be like? How are their prices going to be? Are they going to raise prices? Blah, blah, blah. Also, you're looking at a stock that is up almost 200% in just 12 months. That's crazy. Imagine on IPO day, if you bought 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000 shares or more, you might be selling, taking some profit. I mean, look, it was 150, now it's 115. People are aware that this is carrying a level of speculation. So if they're up 200% in 12 months, they might be ringing that register and taking a percentage, right? If they had 1,000 shares, maybe they're selling 200, maybe they're selling 500, maybe they're selling a quarter, whatever. The point is it already carries a little bit of risk just because of the sheer nature of the business. They're new, they're expanding. Will it work? Will it won't work? And now you have Trump, the deportations, the tariffs. Makes it speculative. Am I selling anything that I have? No, because I already have a relatively small position in the company. Am I buying more? A little bit here and there, but really, no. I want to see what's going to happen over the next 4 years. And if the stock craters on something that I think is a short-term issue, I will buy more. And if it craters and it can't recover, I'm not going to be crying about it because I already had a relatively small position. I still love their food. There I am, picking up some bowls. And remember, bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered, and smart investors always smash that follow. See you later.